How did the first humans cross oceans thousands of miles wide with no maps, no compasses, and no idea what was on the other side? Picture this. You're standing on a beach, staring out at an endless horizon of open water. No land in sight. No way to know how far it stretches or what's waiting on the other end. No satellite images, no GPS, not even a basic compass. And yet, at some point in human history, people looked at that terrifying, endless ocean and decided to sail into it anyway. Not once, not by accident, but repeatedly, across generations, spreading humanity to nearly every habitable landmass on Earth. So how did they actually do it? Let's start with the most mind-blowing example, the journey to Australia. Roughly 65,000 years ago, humans made a crossing that still stuns archaeologists today. To reach Australia from Southeast Asia, early humans had to cross open ocean, not just island hop along visible coastlines, but actually sail across stretches of water where no land was visible on the horizon at all. This wasn't a lucky raft drifting by accident. Evidence suggests this required intentional voyaging, meaning early humans built some form of watercraft and deliberately set out into open water, not knowing what, if anything, was on the other side. This raises an obvious question. What did these boats even look like? Since wood and plant materials don't survive tens of thousands of years, we don't have the original boats themselves. But researchers have run real-world experiments, building bamboo rafts and simple dugout canoes using only tools and materials available to early humans, then testing whether these vessels could survive open ocean conditions. Some of these tests succeeded, proving that even relatively simple rafts, if built correctly, could realistically survive long ocean voyages, especially if paddled by a coordinated group working together. But building a boat is only half the challenge. The far bigger mystery is navigation. How do you sail toward land you cannot see without any instruments? This is where things get genuinely fascinating, because ancient humans developed navigation systems so precise, some remained unmatched by Western science for thousands of years. Take the Pacific Islanders, particularly the Polynesians, who eventually settled islands scattered across millions of square miles of open ocean, some of the most isolated landmasses on the planet. Polynesian navigators used a system now called wayfinding, relying entirely on natural signals most modern people wouldn't even notice. They memorized the rising and setting points of specific stars, using them like a rotating compass across the night sky. During the day, they read ocean swells, patterns of waves that bend and shift predictably around islands long before land is visible, allowing skilled navigators to sense an island's presence from the way the water itself moved beneath their canoe. They also watched for birds. Certain seabird species fly out to feed each morning and return to land each evening, meaning their flight direction at dusk could point navigators directly toward hidden islands. Cloud formations mattered too. Clouds often clustered differently above islands due to heat rising from land, creating visual clues in the sky for those trained to notice them. Some Polynesian navigators could reportedly sense the presence of distant land simply by lying in the bottom of their canoe and feeling how ocean swells reflected off unseen islands, detecting subtle changes in the rhythm of the waves against the hull. This knowledge wasn't written down. It was memorized, tested, and passed directly from master navigators to apprentices over years of training, sometimes decades, creating unbroken chains of oral knowledge stretching back countless generations. An entire mental map of the Pacific Ocean, carried not on paper, but inside human memory. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, a completely different seafaring culture was mastering the open Atlantic. The Vikings, using long ships with a distinctive shallow draft design, became some of history's most capable ocean travelers. Their ships were built to flex slightly with ocean waves rather than break against them, allowing them to survive rough North Atlantic crossings that would destroy more rigid vessels. Viking navigators relied on the position of the sun, the flight patterns of land-based birds carried aboard the ship and released to locate nearby land, and something now debated among historians, a possible early form of a sunstone, a crystal that may have helped detect the sun's position even through thick cloud cover, useful for navigation in the notoriously overcast North Atlantic. Using skills like these, Vikings successfully crossed open ocean to reach Iceland, then Greenland, and eventually, around 1,000 years ago, the coast of North America, landing in what's now Newfoundland, Canada. This happened nearly 500 years before Christopher Columbus's famous voyage, using nothing but wind, wooden ships, and generational seafaring knowledge passed from sailor to sailor. Then there's the case of ancient seafarers navigating the Mediterranean and Indian Ocean trade routes, some dating back over 4,000 years. These sailors developed a deep understanding of seasonal monsoon wind patterns, learning that winds blew reliably in one direction for months at a time, then reversed entirely during a different season. By timing their voyages around these predictable wind shifts, ancient traders could sail incredibly long distances in one direction, then simply wait for the winds to reverse before sailing home, an early form of navigation based purely on understanding large-scale weather patterns, refined over countless generations of trial, failure, and observation. Of course, none of this happened without enormous risk. For every successful voyage that reached new land, there were almost certainly countless others that vanished entirely. Boats lost to storms, currents, or simply the impossible vastness of open ocean, with no way for us to ever know how many attempts ended in failure. The humans who succeeded weren't just skilled, they were also lucky, brave to an almost unimaginable degree, and willing to risk everything on nothing more than accumulated knowledge and educated guesswork. What's especially remarkable is how independently different cultures solved the same fundamental problem. Polynesians reading stars and swells, Vikings reading suns and birds, Mediterranean sailors reading seasonal winds. Completely separate cultures, oceans apart, arriving at strikingly sophisticated navigation systems without ever contacting each other, each one built from generations of careful observation, oral tradition, and hard-earned survival knowledge. So the next time you glance at a GPS app to find your way somewhere, remember, long before satellites, before compasses, before written maps, humans were already crossing entire oceans, using nothing but memorized stars, the rhythm of waves against a hull, and the flight paths of birds. They stared into featureless horizons stretching thousands of miles, with absolutely no guarantee of what lay ahead, and they sailed into that uncertainty anyway, again and again, until they had reached nearly every corner of this planet.